All right. So again, today is maybe the class will be a little bit bumpy. Uh, I just went through a second surgery today. I went on Monday one. Today I went to another. Was lunchtime, so I'm a little groggy still. But the show must go on. I can't afford to stop it. We don't have the time. So today we are going to discuss about uh, Flask models. And what does it mean, models in this case? Is database, right? So we are going to save something in a database. And with that in the database, we can not only save it things, but we can retrieve things. The way that we do in basically almost any like programming language, like in Java and C++ or so, is we have what we call a model. A model basically is a class. So do I have here? Yeah. So basically that's what we have is something like that. You have what we call model view controller. It's a kind of a structure that we normally use. And basically what you have some data in a database, but the way that we put the data in that database is like through a model. So we are going to create a model that in all the languages, basically it is a class. We are going to create a class. The class will have some fields, right? The object-oriented programming class. We are going to have some fields. And then with this class, we create objects. And then this object is what we dump into a database. So every single line, if you can imagine that a database is like a spreadsheet, every single line is a whole object. Each line is an object, and each column in that line represents the features of that object. So basically, that's what a database is in this case. And again, every time we put something there, it's going through an object that we are going to create from a class. So we are going to create a class in this program, in this hands-on project that we are going to work on. And with that object, we can dump things here. However, we need to fill in that object, right? If there are many fields like price or title or description, whatever is the fields for this object, we need to populate before dumping into the database. So this is where the controller comes. The controller is like in our Python programs, right? We are going to create the object there. And where do I get that information? Normally is from like the pages, right, that you are working on. So when you fill out a form in your HTML there, you fill a form and press submit, you are going to get those fields and then pass to the controller, and the controller will create the object, and the controller not only display in another window if you need it, but also is going to send the is going to create the object based on the model and save it there. And again, I put some arrows here up and down because not only you can dump, but you can retrieve later to show in the view whatever you want to show in your computer. So basically, that's kind of a very kind of disorganized way of showing, but that is kind of the data flow. We are going to get something from the HTML here, the HTTP, with some routes. And then in the routes, depending on the route that you access, you are going to run some functions associated with the routes that are the controllers. The controllers can send you to another page showing what you are buying or something, and also sending to that database. And depending on the page that you are, you might retrieve data and view in the router, viewing in another page. That's what you see here in your computer. So basically, that's the structure that we are going to work on. So the example that I did here is example that I did few years ago for this class. And we are going to try to do like a McDonald's menu online. So you could use your cell phone or you could use your computer, It's something like that. So you go to a monitor and maybe in front of the store, and you have all these options here that you can buy food here. This is kind of a navigation bar, so I can go straight to desserts if I want, right here. So I have the desserts here, or not. Guys, give me just 1 second. Amore, eu tô dando aula. Depois eu ligo pra você, tá? Beijo. Tchau. So, and what you do, I don't know if you ever been a drive-through. It's basically you do like, okay, I want a 1/4 pound, and it shows here. You see it showing right here. And I want like a Fanta. Fanta I used to drink when I was a very, very young kid. Fanta in Brazil, and why not? Things that I love. This one more of those things here. And as I type in here, it shows here all those things that I'm showing you right now. You know how to do it. All right. We went through HTML, we went through SS, we went through Java script. This is just action listeners, right? Event listeners. As I type it here, I get the value and I dump it here. All those things, strictly speaking, you should know how to do it. So we are not going to go into detail how to do it. I'm going to provide you the source code for this as it is. But again, you should be able to do this on your own on this one here. All right, so you choose whatever you want to choose, and then eventually they're going to ask you, what's your name? And you say Paul or so, and then you're going to submit the order. So when I click here, if you are like in a establishment, right? In a food place or so. What happened is normally when you submit, you get like a summary of what you ordered. That is this guy right here, plus your name, maybe the order number or so. So you click here, you're going to see another page, and that's what is going to happen. I'm just going to explain what's happened before going there because it's going to happen kind of fast. After the summary, normally, if this is a computer and a monitor in a store, it's not going to be there forever. It's going to show the summary, and after like, I don't know, 5 seconds or 10 seconds, it's go back here to the main menu for the next client, next customer. So when I click here, we are going to see my order, but very soon it's going to jump automatically to this main menu for the next customer. So look at here, I'm going to click here. Here is my order, all right? So it says Paulo Brasco and the orders and bump back automatically. So we are going to do that in our project in this hands-on too. Now, so there is some Flask already happening, right? Because we have this main page, we have the summary order summary page, but there is another menu, that there is another route that the customer normally don't see it, and that is doesn't see it because is the kitchen monitor. So in the kitchen, away from you, there is another monitor that has the orders. So the person that is doing the dishes can see what is the order, and then they can do the order. So you see here, this is the main route, and then this one here, you see it has kitchen here. So this one is not for the public. This is for the person that is doing the dishes. So I need to do this order here for this Maria, and I need to have 2 French fries and so, and I have all this information here. Okay, so the guy in the kitchen, as the person does, it can change it. Remember, I just did this order here. So this is the order that I just did it. I can, for example, imagine that I finished this order. I will delete this order. I already completed. The customer got the order. So I need to work on these 3 ones. Now, what is happening here is the same. If you notice, let me push just a little bit here. You're going to see this part here. You see that is kind of a, give a second here and you're going to see it's blimping, blip again. It's going to blip again. So let's look again. You see, every like 15 seconds or so, this is going to be automatically updated. Updated from where? From the database. So here, when I submit the order, not only I send the order to another view, right? The other page, but I am also saving the order in a database. And then what happens is this window here, this route, it goes to that database, pull up all the orders that are still there, and display in this page for me in the kitchen. And when I click delete order, I'm deleting from the database. That's what we are doing here. Okay, so that's what we are going to do for the next 2 lectures or so. And this is very, very similar to your final project. All right, so whatever you're doing here is almost the same thing we are going to do for the final project. Uh, and again, I always try to do some hands-on that is very close to what you see in real life. So this could be easily an application for a small business that you have a computer monitor in the front. Someone choose whatever they need, and then the kitchen get the order, provides the food, and that's it. All right. So very similar what could happen in real world. There is nothing fancy here. Didn't put anything fancy, but all the gears are here. Any questions so far? Okay. Uh, so let's go for it. Uh, what I want from you is, let me just decrease this here. Let me close that. If you go to your canvas, you are going to see that we are talking about a database model. So this is what we are working now. That is here, this one here. Download this file for today's lecture. Please download this one here. So go ahead, download there. And as I always try to be organized, I put this in my CS 1520, fall 2024, session 1. And I create a new directory here, 09-models. I create that. And I put the zip there and I unzip it. So you should unzip it. And then you're going to get the skeleton of this project. The part of the main page.py is what we are going to work on this. So all the rest is provided to you. Just few things are not, and that few things, that is what we are going to work on. I'm going to open this in my VS Code. So CD here, code dot here. Okay. Tell me when you are done, all right, everybody? Just tell me, and then we go. All right. So if you have done that already, so we are going to see that you have like the main pie is completely empty, and that's what we are working on, right? So we are working Flask and working models. So that's the parts that we are going to spend here. You should have everything else like a static. You should have the CSS, the formatting, you should have it. The images that we are using, you should have it too. What else? The JavaScript should be there. So everything is there. We are just looking at the server-side Python application, the Flask application. And as you see here, if you click in main underscore page, you're going to see that it's completely empty. There is some PDF file here that is basically what I show you how the program is, right? So if you want to see it later, some screenshots and some other things. So you have some information here that we are not going to use it, but it's there for your, if you needed to look at some point. All right. So the first thing that we need to do is, if you remember, when I come here, is when I go to my route, the root of my page, I get this guy right here. This guy is if you look at your, in the templates, is this index here. So that's what we are loading in that thing. So the first thing that we need to do is basically do that in the main page. I don't know if you remember how to do it, but let's do it. We are going to create a route right here. So we are going to come here and basically remember you have the app right here. So what we need to do is we are going to say app.route. And then we are going to do this like that's a get request for that thing there. All right. Now, don't forget to put a tab there. No, sorry, no tab yet. We need to define a function. So the function could be default, could be anything, can be main menu. It's up to you how you want to call this. All right. So there is a function that will be executed there. And then what we need to do, we need to return that page. I don't know if you remember, but the way to do is we are going to return, and then we need to return a page, but the page is in HTML and we need to return as a string. So we are going to use that function called render templates. Okay. And here we are going to put the HTML file. In this case, if you look at here, is the index.html file. So that's the main page. So I'm going to put here index.html file. All right. Now, before we proceed a little bit further, let's take a look in this file itself. Okay, we have a few things here. So we have some links for the CSS, we have links for the JavaScript. And if you keep going, you have all those menus that I showed you before. So there is nothing new here. And what else do we need to do here? There is the form. Remember the form where I put my name. That is the text area with the things that I want to buy. And then there is the button submit. All right. Let's start the way that it is. And without doing anything here, we are going to get an error when we submit because we are sending back to the root. And I don't want to send back to the root. I want to send back to this order summary. That will be another place. But let's try to run this first just to check this. However, before doing that, I want to fix few things. Well, two things. Should be fixing more things here, but I'm going to fix just two of them. I don't know if you remember from the previous lecture that I said that we need to try to avoid putting hard code like this. All right. So something like this way of saying, oh, it's in this directory. And so the way to do it is a little different when you use a Flask and when you deliver this page somewhere else. Here is going to work in your computer, but to be more robust, your application, you should have a different way of doing this. If you don't remember this when you're developing in a year or so, just Google and they will explain how to link a style sheet in a HTML in a Flask application or so. All right. What you're going to do is something similar, but it's not like this. So we can leave here, give some space here just for you to see how it was and how it needs to go. We are going to use Jinja 2 again. Remember, it's those two curly brackets. So it's a variable here. And I could put a variable here, variable name, and the render template would do the replacement here. or you can put the command right here too. There is no problem. So I'm just going to put the command as it is. So it's URL for, then you need to say here, you cannot use double quotes now because we already have a double quotes right here, right? So we have a double quotes right here. So what we need to do here, we are going to say static. So that is the directory where it is. And then you need to say file name equal, and then you are going to use, again, single quotes again, and then you can put this guy here, the CSS index CSS. So I'm going to just put it here. Unfortunately, it's a little cumbersome, as you see here, but that's the way to do it, okay? The right way of doing it. So the render template that is going to render this guy here, remember that is a render template, this guy here, when it parses this line here, it's going to go to the static directory. You have a static directory here. And it's going to look for this directory and use this file here. It's very misleading. This is static here. If you change the name here and change there, sometimes it does not work. So because the static is like a hard code thing that is in Flask, there is a way of changing the name from static to something else, but it's beyond this, it's out of scope for this course, but it's not that difficult. It's just, you can Google it and you can find it. But I normally would leave as static here. For CSS, images, and JavaScript, I will do this way here. Okay, so this is one thing. And the other thing would be for the JavaScript itself. And it's going to be the same drill. So we are going to come here and use the Jinja 2. That means that is going to be replaced by the render template. And we are going to say URL, oops, for, then use single quote here. And then we are going to say again, say static, and then comma, and then you're going to say file name equal JS. I can copy the rest here. JS. Okay. I hope I haven't forget any double quotes. So the double quotes for the source finish here, and then finish the tag, and then the end tag. So it's, you just need to be careful with all these things here. So by purpose, I left that as it was before, because that's the way that we knew how to do it when we are not using Flask. But when we are using Flask, the best way is using this kind of a notation. It's a little, again, cumbersome, but that's the way we should do. To tell you the truth, I'm not going to do it, but these guys also should be in kind of the same format. All right, so all these images I will fix for the next probably semester, but they should be doing that way too. Again, for local runs that we are going to do, this works, but maybe when you deploy it to another server provider, it might not work. All right, all right. And again, this is when I click the button here, I'm going to send back to the same page. And because this route does just accept get, we are going to get an error, but that's fine. I just want to see if I can see this page. That's what I'm doing here. So don't forget to save that, come back here, go to your terminal window. So open a terminal window here. And what else we need to do? Just run the program. So let's try to run. So I'm going to put here pi, and then its main page, pi. Let's see if we get any error. And again, I'm sorry, it might be bumpy a little today. Maybe I get some errors. It's just because I didn't have the time to go through this before the class. But we got the things that we need. So here we have all the page. We have the CSS is working. Let's see if the JavaScript should be working too. Let's put 2 here, and you get there too. So the JavaScript is also working. But again, if I put Paulo here and I submit, I should get an error. Oh, sorry. Give me a second. It's running because of the other application that I have here. So let me close this application. Give me a second. I have two VS codes running at the same time. The one that I show you the application, I need to stop that application. So, okay, so let me try again. Okay. So again, if I put something here, 3, 2, okay, I have there. If I put Paulo, and it's sending back to the page. And yeah, that's okay. I mean, it's sending back, but doing nothing. Oh, I know why it's doing that. Let me just go back here. Here. Is sending back without any problem because the methods here is still empty. Because it's empty is assuming that is a get request for default, because it's a get request by default and this route accepts get request. I'm getting back that thing here. However, as we discussed in the previous lecture, when we are doing some action and we are going to send some information to other locations, we need to put here a post request. And this is part of the lecture, okay? I left this empty by purpose, just to remember that you need to set it probably to post if you are doing a form and you're submitting that form. Now, if you run it again, because I'm using the debug mode, remember I have the debug mode here for running this application. I believe that it uploads automatically. So if we go back again here, and if I put something here, let's put 2, put a name Paulo, and submit. Something is strange here. Action post.